Hotspur news here. Which defeated Fulham by a goal to nil at Craven Cottage. I'm here with Spurs centre, also known as Toby. How you doing?
Doing all right. How are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. So anyways, going to ask me a few questions based on the win today. And cool, I'll tell you what, it wasn't convincing by any means, but we got the job done. What do you think of the game?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's a win. It's a London derby, which, I mean, you just got to get the wins in those. I mean, every game we should be going in for the win, but especially the London derbies, it seems to be just a little bit more difficult, especially based off like the last game where we took the lead similarly and then sat back and came back to bite us. But we were more solid today. Eric-Dier wasn't in the lineup, which probably helped. But I think overall it was a decent performance, and 3 points, we'll take it.
Yeah, in my opinion, it was a game of two halves because I was in the first half. I thought first 5-10 minutes it was a very slow game, which to me, like, it wasn't what I wanted because I said this many times. When you're playing teams like lower in the table, like Burnley, your Fulhams, etc., like, you've got to start quickly. And we did that against Burnley. The first 5-10 minutes we were slow, and that made me think, oh no, it's going to be a really boring game. But then we got the goal through Dele Alli. Actually went down as an own goal in the end, but
yeah, it was unfortunate.
But I'm just give it to Dele Alli because it was going in anyway. But I'd say after the first goal until half time, we pressed a lot, which is what I liked, and we went for the second goal. But I thought we didn't take our chances in the first half. Do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Kane had a open header, which, I mean, normally he scores those, but just because he had an off day. I thought Son was creating pretty well. Bale, I thought he was all right, but I mean, he's going to have to be rested. I mean, we knew it when we signed him. He's not going to be able to play 3 games a week and start in every one. So I think also the fullbacks today, they held us back a bit. I think, we all know Aurier and Reguilon are our first choice, and to have them both out at the same time isn't ideal because Doherty, I really want him to succeed. I really do. Like, every time he gets out there, I'm thinking like, okay, he's gonna prove himself this time. He's gonna do it this time, and then he just doesn't. On the ball, I thought he was poor. His crossing wasn't great. Nothing to write home about. And then Davis, 6 out of 10. I mean, Davis he's just average every time. Can't expect too much from him. So I think they really hampered our attack, especially when people like Reguilon and Aurier, they get up so much and they draw defenders out of position, and it just didn't happen like that. So.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the defence because looking at Davinson Sanchez, I thought was one of our best players today. Like, I thought throughout the whole game, I thought he dealt with that Josh Meyer, who was their new signing, if you didn't know, very well. And I said this after the Burnley game. I think it's having Toby next to him because you've seen the difference. Like in that Sanchez performance, like when he plays with Dier next to him compared to when he has Toby next to him, because obviously Toby's a more experienced defender. And to be honest, like when Sanchez came here in his first season, he was one of our best players. Like facts, like Sanchez, like in his first season here, our first season at Wembley he arrived, so 17-18. That was his first season here, and he was exceptional. And I think having Toby next to him, like Sanchez is one of those players who will literally put his body on the line, and I think that's one of the defenders that we really need in our back line. Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, against Man City, he got turned inside out by Gundogan, but I mean, at the end, people made fun of him for it, but he threw his head in to try to block the shot, and although it didn't come off, and he ended up looking like a bit of a fool. I mean, the idea was there, the commitment is there. It's just he makes poor decisions sometimes, and he got let off today when he made the mistake, and they scored, and VAR ruled it out, which is harsh, but that's a whole different issue. But yeah, I think other than that, he was really solid today. Like you were saying, he dealt with their new signing pretty well. I'm not going to even try to say it, but I think, like you were saying, next to Alderweireld, he's a different player than when he's next to Eric-Dier, and I think, like, I want our players to succeed. I want Eric-Dier to get back to the form he was in at the beginning of the season, but we can't keep playing him when we have better defenders. It doesn't make sense, especially when we're in a position where we need to be winning every game we play. Otherwise, we're going to be in a position where maybe we're not playing in Europe next season, which would just be a disaster. So I think, yeah, we got to play Sanchez in the long run, or I don't know where Rodon's been. I don't know why we stopped playing him all of a sudden, but if we could start playing Rodon again or Sanchez, but either way, Aldo needs to be in the starting lineup next to them to just have that experience.
Yeah. So another thing I want to discuss is Dele Alli. I thought he was okay today, but then again, like if you look at, I'd say the differences, because the thing is, Dele Alli, like I like him so much, and in my opinion, he's one of the most creative midfielders in our team or in our squad, shall we say? But then again, you've got Lucas and Lamella. Okay, fair enough. Lucas may not be as creative, but he releases the ball quicker. He's quicker on the ball. He releases it a lot better, and he doesn't spend too much time on it either. Would you rather have Lucas instead of Dele in that centre attacking midfield role moving forward?
It depends on who we're playing and it depends on who we're playing against, I think. If we're playing strictly on the counter, I think Lucas Moura is a better player to put in there, especially if we're playing against a team like Manchester City or United or Liverpool, and we're going to be really sitting back and then just exploding off on those counters like we did so well at the beginning of the season. I think Lucas is a better option. But if we're playing possession-based, Lucas Moura doesn't have the quality to break teams down. And I think Dele does. I think you saw that today. I think there was a chance where he won the ball back and he got it out wide and then delivered a really nice cross in for Son, and he just headed it wide. But I think overall, it's a tough one. But I'd say Dele. But I think if I could say anyone, I'd put Lo Celso in once he gets back from injury. I think he's only out for another week or two, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Okay, so obviously some more important games coming up. We've got Crystal Palace on Sunday evening, 7:15 UK time, so that'll be the afternoon for you. Crystal Palace are home next, and obviously North London derby next weekend. Obviously before that we got Zagreb at home in the first leg, I think, of the Europa League game. I won't be on the watch long for Zagreb, but obviously Crystal Palace at home next. What do you think going to that? Obviously Palace drew 0-0 to Fulham in their last game. Not in the greatest form, but then again, they still have a couple of players which could threaten our defence. So what do you think of that?
Yeah, well, I saw something said they're expecting Zaha to be back. So we're going to need our first choice fullbacks in for that. I think Reguilon and Aurier could be the keys to that game. It's unlikely Bale will start, given that he started the last two games. He did get subbed off early today, so I guess he could start, but I think Lamella, if Bale can't start, I'd put Lamella in. And I know he didn't perform so well at the beginning to the middle of the season, but I'd bring Bergwijn at least back into the squad. I don't know where he's been. No one's really even talking about that. He's been dropped from the squad completely for the last two games. So I'd like to see him given another chance, maybe just against the Dynamo Zagreb next week, or Zagreb, however you say it. But yeah, I think that game, it's another must-win game. We need to win our next probably 3 or 4 or 5 games if we're going to try to get top 4, or if we're going to focus on Europa League. We need to be pretty decisive in that first game at home at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So, obviously, Crystal Palace have some threats, and we're going to need to be solid in the back again. So I think it's tight because I think Dyer's going to start. Based off Alderweireld, I think he started our last 3 games, so he's going to need a rest. And then I think that's going to leave us with Dyer and Sanchez, which is a recipe for disaster. So, yeah, it really depends on how much we can create in that game. We could win it.
Yeah, for me,
Go ahead.
Yeah, for me, I would play Eric Dyer against Zagreb because right now, the Premier League games, they're coming thick and fast. At the moment, we should focus on them more than Europa League, because obviously, because for me, if you compare the difference, if you want to get Champions League football, which obviously is the main priority for us this season, especially for a club like us, obviously, we're in the Champions League final in 2019. All of a sudden, we're in the Europa League stage 2 years later. So obviously the main priority to get Champions League football, you need to make sure you get into that top 4 first, then you worry about the Europa League. Because obviously Arsenal, a couple of years ago, I remember, it was a season when they lost the final in the Europa League. They were in control getting the top 4 spots. They bottled it. They had to focus on the Europa League, and then they lost the final. So you have to make sure you get Champions League top 4 first, then you worry about that.
I think
so. That for me, I would just play Dyer and Bergwijn, and then I'm pretty much all the players who haven't played like consistently against Zagreb, and stick
Yeah.
with Bale against the Premier League sides.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Especially just going off what you were saying about the other Europa League. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on our players in that final. Not even considering Champions League, especially if we lose the final to Man City in April. If we get to the Europa League final, there's going to be a ton of pressure on our players to win a trophy, given that it's been so long. And for Kane, Son, Lloris, Alderweireld, there's going to be a lot of pressure on them because they're in another European final, which I'm sure they're going to have flashbacks to the final in Madrid. So I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on them, not even considering Champions League. So it's better if we can solidify it in the league first and then go into that final with the only pressure on them being that it's a final and a trophy that we should win or that we should add to our cabinet. So yeah, that's what I'd say about that.
Yeah. All right, and to round it all off, who was your man of the match tonight?
That's a tough one. I guess I'm going to give it to someone who not a lot of people have been talking about, but I'll give it to Højbjerg. I thought he had a pretty good game today. He was cutting up passes well. He was triggering counterattacks well, starting attacks well by winning the ball in midfield, and I think his performance isn't getting recognized maybe as much as it should be, so throw it out to him.
All right, fair enough. All right, people, this has been the Hotspur News. Fulham 0, Tottenham 1. Thanks, Toby, for joining us once again.
Yeah,
and thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.